Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, today on our bullet points episode, we're going to talk about a shift that I'm seeing. This is incredibly important. Now, harken back to earlier this year when we started covering the articles from places like Politico, ABC, NBC, CBS. They were all writing articles which supported the narrative of gun control at the time. This was back when they thought they had it. On this channel when we were like, no, they don't. But they still thought they did. All the articles were aimed and very narrow and focused and aimed at supporting the point of the politicians that they were pushing. They said all the same gun statistics across the board. They said all the same benefits across the board. Everything was in unison because they were writing to a left-wing audience. Well, now, as we've added about 8 to 9 months, the whole thing is starting to fall apart for them. And up until now, I haven't really seen a destruction of their basically mental state in these articles. Before, it was frustration. Well, now, this is an opinion article from the New York Times. This is not a small outlet. But listen specifically in this article to how scattered, how broad, and lack of focus it is. And really, it's heavy on anger and frustration. Listen to this because you are winning. This is because you guys are stepping up and you are putting pressure on your elected representatives. It's not about the gun lobby. It's about the American people standing up for their rights, and that's what you're doing every day. It's linked in the description box below for more details. I want to know what you guys think. And if you're just now seeing this, we'd love to earn that subscription. So make sure you hit that button and come back and join the fight with us. But let's dive into this article. Now, there's a few things. These are the topics I want you to listen for. And like I said, let me know if you see the same thing I'm seeing. But here's the topics that I picked out in one opinion article. Listen how scattered this is. Biden's gun agenda, semi-auto ban, universal background checks, ghost guns, Texas, toddler accidents, and FBI murder statistics. This is crazy. They're losing the ability to write narrow, focused articles because they've lost almost hope. Check this out. Here is the article title, and it got my attention because it doesn't make sense. Why are we still going great guns? Okay, let's dive in, I guess. Let's take a look at how well Joe Biden is doing with his gun safety agenda. Let's do that. We call this gun safety, people, because gun control makes a lot of politicians nervous. First of all, it doesn't matter what you call it, you're not getting it. And really, what the heck? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that eliminating the sale of semi-automatic rifles would make the country more gun safe. You can go out on a limb all you want, but the very FBI statistics that you're going to quote later in this article disprove your point completely. Pistols, knives, blunt objects, and fists killed more people than rifles in the same year statistics they're quoting. Just saying, it's not about rifles. It's not about statistics. They want them because they threaten them and they're scared. But I keep going. Banning assault weapons was on Biden's to-do list, along with universal background checks and a stronger, more forward-looking Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives under the leadership of David Chipman. Well, here we are. Less than a year into the administration, and Chipman's nomination is kaput. Yeah, it is. Sing. Biden hasn't yet come up with a new name. That is not at all unusual since congressional gun politics has limited the ATF to only one actual confirmed chief in the last 15 years. Do you see how there's no policy, there's no nothing? It's very aggressive and angry. There's just a lot of contrarian stuff here. Let's keep going because it only gets worse. There are a limited number of other things Biden can do on his own. Now keep in mind, they're covering Biden because they still need Biden, but they're upset at the entire situation. Here's how they get Biden cover. He's made it harder for folks to acquire ghost gun kits, that let them build their own weapons at home. And he ordered a survey of weapons trafficking patterns, which sounds like a great idea, except for the part about the beleaguered ATF having to do the work. Again, frustration and irritation. Background checks, another topic, are supported by Democrats, Republicans, gun owners, and non-gun owners, said John Feinblatt. You know John, the guy who basically cranks out talking points for articles, president of Everytown for Gun Safety. The only place where they're controversial is the Senate. That's completely not true. The reason it's controversial is because you're talking about universal background checks, which is individual peer-to-peer sales. What everyone supports is what's already in place through the 4473s and the Federal Firearm Licensee Background Check System called NICS. Don't get it twisted. But that's just manipulation. Now we go into Texas. Well, probably also the Texas legislature, which recently passed a law liberating its citizens to pack loaded handguns when they're out in public, without going through the trouble of getting any training or applying for a permit. This is the part that I don't understand. The left has this onus of the government to say, you have a stamp, the government said you're okay, so now you can do it. That is your right. Now that the government says you can do it, you now have a right to do something. What happened to personal responsibility? The government's job is to prevent the government from overreaching. It's a check on its own power. Once you have that right, the ability to train yourself and the ability to be safe with that firearm is your own responsibility. It's personal responsibility. A concept completely lost on these types of people. But that's the point. It's not about the government saying I can and I'm responsible. It's about me making that own choice and then taking the responsibility of that choice. Weird. And this is the part where they contradict using the same FBI statistics. We will stop here to note that in 2020, more than 19,000 Americans died from gun violence, not including the 24,000 who committed suicide with a gun. Now, do you remember in the previous 4 months, or the first 4 months of this year, it was all about 40,000 people died of gun violence. 40,000 people. We hit it ad nauseum because it was a lie then and it's a lie now. Now they're changing it to 19,000 Americans died from gun violence and 24,000 died from suicides. Interesting how they changed that narrative. Also fascinating, this exact same FBI study that they're pulling these numbers from also state that pistols, knives, handguns, pistols, knives, blunt objects, and fists had more violence and more deaths than rifles in the United States in the same study. But they don't say that because they're twisting facts. And that's what I want to bring to you tonight. Actually, rather today. They are suffering on the fact that their policies are failing and they're resorting to throwing everything at the wall they can with anger and condescension because that's the only language that they know. When it does not go their way, they throw a hissy fit. And you are looking at the New York Times opinion piece, hissy fit right here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments field below, and I will see you tonight at the 9 p.m. slot. This is Braden signing out.